Welcome to my channel, Insurance Lady Info. If you are subscribed to this channel already, thank you guys for joining me again. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that go at the bottom as well. It is me, Sunshine Love. I am here to give you another insurance informative video. So the last time I was here, we discussed accidents and violations, and I was giving you guys information about what to do if you are shopping for insurance and you have accidents and you have violations on your background, what to expect, how to get around that, and how you can fix some of those issues. So today, what I'm going to talk about is if you already have insurance and you have accidents and you have violations, and what you need to do when it comes to your rates increasing. Because a lot of times I would get people contacting me and they was telling me, hey, Sunny, my rates have just been going up and up and up. It seems like every single year my rates are increasing and I just don't know why. And so I'm going to discuss with you today how to handle that, how to manage your policy, and what you should do, what type of steps you need to take in order to maintain your lower rates if you have accidents and violations on your background. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Usually, like I mentioned, I will get phone calls or emails from my customers letting me know that they've had a certain company for a certain amount of years and it just seems like their rates are just increasing and they're not completely sure why their rates are increasing at a significant rate. So they're wanting to know what's going on. And usually when I do my job in reviewing and probing and just trying to dig to find out what happened to their policy, why did it increase, I tend to find out that my customers have received tickets that they may have forgotten about, that they've been in accidents that they might have forgotten about or just failed to mention to me. And so they're thinking that it may not affect them. So here's the thing. If you have accidents while you have insurance, so you say, for instance, your policy renews every year, okay? You had an accident in January, your policy ends in December, it renews the next January. So you are basically like going 12 months without your rates increasing technically, because if you had an accident in January, your rates are not going to go up until your policy renews. So you'll go basically the whole 12 months paying the same rate that you've been paying all year long, and then you look up and when your policy renews, your rates increase. See, a lot of people believe that whenever they get rate increases or if they get in an accident, the rate increase is going to happen immediately because they reported the accident immediately and the claim got settled and everything. But that's not necessarily the case, you guys. A lot of times the rates won't increase until that claims case is closed. So however long it takes for that claims case to be open, that is how long you'll go without having to pay that surcharge of that accident that you were in. Because, and I'm just strictly talking about accidents if you already have car insurance, okay? It's going to take a while because, like I mentioned, they have to go off the verdict of that claim. So, for instance, if the case has been open for a year and a half, right? Well, you're going to go a year and a half and you may not have a surcharge for that whole year and a half because the case is still open and there is no verdict if that accident was at fault or not at fault. So they are waiting on that. Underwriting is waiting on that. Once underwriting finds out, like, okay, the case is now closed, this is deemed as an at fault accident per the claims adjuster, right? So when it's at fault, then underwriting knows, hey, this needs a surcharge because this person has an at fault accident, and because they are now turning from a good driver to a high risk driver, this needs to have a surcharge. So you'll go a year and a half if you have a 6-month policy, or 2 years if you have an annual policy, thinking, oh yes, my rates are the same, and then boom, they're just going to just go up $300. No, you had an accident 2 years ago and you're just now getting hit for it because that case is now closed. The claim has been, the verdict has already been set on that claim, and it is at fault, and you are now having to pay for that. So, and it's not the insurance company being janky or they're trying to get one over you. It's the fact that you had that accident, and so it's just hitting you just now, right? Now, the problem is that I used to always run into is people wanting to get their rates back down to what it was. That is not going to happen, okay? It will never go back to what it was, even if the 5 years have passed, right? So like I mentioned on my previous video, when you've had an accident, it's going to stay on your driving record for a total of 5 years, okay? Once that 5 years pass, the 6th year, the first year after, it's not going to go back down to what you originally had, because what you originally had was 5 years ago, and rates have changed since that 5 years. You're going to pay whatever your market is at that time. Okay, it will go down, but not all the way to what you had. A lot of people is always looking for rates to go back to what they had, but that is not necessarily the case. Generally, you will never go back to what you had, because what you had is non-existent anymore, right? You are now rated as a different type of driver, right? So keep that in mind, that if you get it, if you're with the company and you finally get hit with that surcharge, that once that surcharge is over and you're still with that company and you're done paying that surcharge, you're not going to go back to what you had, because generally when you have to pay that surcharge, you have to pay that surcharge for 3 years. Remember, I told you in the first video, it stays on your driving record for 5 years, but 3 out of that 5 years, you're being surcharged for that particular incident. And then once that 3 years pass, it's just going to remain on your driving record for the next 2 years. And then after that, it falls off to where no insurance agent can see it. The underwriting is no longer concerned with that anymore, because it's just too long. It's beyond the statutes of limitations, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, this is the same, a little bit the same for violations, okay? If you have violations like a speeding ticket, driving without insurance, driving without a registration, things like that, moving violations, basically, running a red light, running a stop sign, those are all moving violations, driving in the wrong lane, illegal U-turn. Anything where your car is driving and you got a ticket. Because I've had people ask me, well, what about parking tickets? The insurance company does not care about a parking ticket, okay? They only care about when you're driving that car. So anytime you have a moving violation on your driving record, that usually is going to hit you at the very next renewal. You don't have to wait a couple of years because it's not claims related, right? That comes from the DMV. And every single time your policy renews, your policy goes under review by the underwriting department. So they're going to check to see what's been happening with you in the last 6 months or the last year, depending on how long your policy period is. And depending on what happened during that policy period, that's when they are going to determine if your rate should increase or not, if you have any violations on your driving record, or if you have any accidents on your driving record, okay? So I want you guys to keep that in mind, that if you do get a ticket, expect your rates to go up at your next policy renewal, okay? It will go up. You are going to have to pay a surcharge on that ticket for the next 3 years, just like an accident. You'll pay that surcharge for the next 3 years. After the surcharge falls off, it's going to remain on your on your driving record for the next 2 years, and then it'll fall off after that, after the 5 years, to where no one can see it and the underwriting department is no longer concerned, because it is beyond the statutes of limitations. So that is the one that you would usually see immediately. Now, when it comes to accidents, okay, this can get sticky, all right, because I'm going to get really specific about this part, because accidents, This is a very cloudy and touchy subject, and it can go so many different ways, and there are a lot of ways to handle it. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, and sometimes there is something you can do. So when it comes to accidents, you want to make sure that you handle those properly, because your driving record, again, can be affected for 5 years, and that is a long time to be paying high rates, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to pay high rates for 5 years. So when it comes to accidents, you want to make sure that you file those claims properly, okay? You want to make sure that you understand what is going on with your accident and how that claim is going to be filed. Because if that claim is filed as a liability claim, or if it is filed as a collision claim, it's going to count against you no matter what. That is technically going to be surchargeable, okay? If it is filed as an uninsured motorist claim or a comprehensive claim, that's technically not going to be held against you. You are not going to have your rates increase behind those, but you want to watch how many comprehensive claims you do file, because when you file a lot of comprehensive claims, the underwriting department will kind of deem you as irresponsible, and they will actually cancel your policy behind that. So even though comprehensive claims do not count against you to where your rates would increase, too many of those will cause you to get your policy canceled. So be very careful about how many comprehensive claims you do file. Also, a little that kind of can happen with towing. I've seen it where a customer has filed too many towing claims, and an insurance company will remove the towing option for that customer. Not necessarily canceling the policy, but they can't file any more towing claims. So you want to also be careful how many times you use your tow service, because you don't want to get to the point to where they ban you from using your tow service, and then you will have to use an outside source at that particular point. So be careful with that as well, okay? Yes, your insurance is there for you when you need it, but you don't want to abuse it, okay? Because again, they are operating off of trust, off of you being a good driver. That's usually how that works, okay? So going back to accidents, like I mentioned, when you are filing those claims with those accidents, you want to make sure that you're filing those properly, because what you don't want to happen is you being surcharged for an accident that's generally not your fault, okay? Because like I said, that is going to hurt you. That hurts you and technically the entire household. Because remember, on one of my previous videos, I did say that when I was talking about what is insurance, I said that some companies have a household rule and some companies follow just the driver. So if it's a company that does the household rule and you live with somebody who has had several accidents, their accidents can affect your rates. So you want to make sure that your claims are filed properly, so that way, if it is really indeed not your fault, you don't want that to be listed as something that could be at fault. So you don't want it to be listed under liability, and you don't want it to be listed under collision, okay? If someone hits you, you need to file that with that person's insurance company. Don't call your insurance company. If you call your insurance company, the claims department has no option but to open the claim. And when they open that claim, even if it's an inquiry, it's going to look like you have a claim. And you don't want that. You want the other person to pay for your medical payments, to pay for your property damage, to pay for, you missing time off from work, to pay for your rental. You don't want that to come out of your insurance, because if it comes out of your insurance, it will count against you. And I ran into that so many times where I would look at someone's driving history, and then I would see that they had a claim where it was nothing paid out, but it was listed as collision. And a collision, like I said before, you guys, a collision is at fault. No matter what, it is at fault. I don't care what happened. It is at fault. You would literally have to dispute that with the claims department to get that removed off of your background. There is nothing your agent can do about that. You have to get that disputed with the claims department if it's indeed not your fault. Now, if it really is your fault, there's nothing you can do about that. It's your fault. You're going to have to take those surcharges and pay those. You're going to also have to deal with the fact that your rates are increased for the next 5 years. If it really is your fault, there is no way around that. But if it's really not your fault, there are things you can do. Like I said, you will have to file that dispute with the claims department. Again, there's nothing your agent can do about that. So calling your agent and screaming at them and yelling at them and being angry with them, that's not going to help, because they're not the person who can dispute that for you. That is your job to do that with, like I said, the appropriate department. Okay. Now, if you have some moving violations on your background, and again, I'm talking to people who already have insurance and they're noticed that their rates have increased. Okay. So if you have moving violations on your background and you're noticing your rates increase behind those moving violations, like I said, with the people who are shopping for insurance, same thing for you guys. Y'all have to go get that situated at the I can't get my words out. The municipal court, or DPS, depending on, or DMV, because some people call it DMV, some people call it DPS. So it depends on where you live, what you call it. But the Department of Motor Vehicles, right? You would have to either go get that ticket settled at the Department of Motor Vehicles or the municipal court to get that removed off of your background, because they're the ones who put that on there. So anytime you have a moving violation, that does not come from any insurance company, no claims department, no nothing. That is strictly from the DMV or the municipal court. I can't get that word out. I am struggling. I'm so sorry, you guys. Spell check me, whatever. My bad. Anyway, you would have to go to one of those two departments to make sure that you follow the proper steps to get that removed off of your driving record. Because once that is removed off of your driving record, then and you get documentation. Always get documentation. Once it's removed off your driving record and you get documentation that it has been removed off your driving record and they are no longer reporting that, then your agent can help you make sure that you are no longer being surcharged for that particular violation, and that we can go against the underwriting department to make sure they take that off. Because let me tell you, the underwriting department does not budge with no proof, okay? If you have no proof, they are not going to take nothing off. They're not going to honor anything. They don't care. They need documentation on file, okay? If they don't have nothing, there's nothing your agent can do for you, okay? So make sure that when you're fighting those tickets, those moving violations, that you always get proof from the court or from the DMV that it's over with. It is done. It has been removed. It's been dismissed. Okay. You needed to show that it has been dismissed. Okay. Always get proof that it is gone, and turn that into your agent so your agent can get that violation taken off. And once it's taken off, you will notice your next bill, that change happens immediately. You will notice your very next bill will just go down. That is an immediate change, okay? You would just, okay, yes, thank you so much, right? So, again, if you have insurance currently, okay, and you have a car accident, right, and you don't notice that change until maybe a year and a half, a year later, that your rates are increasing, again, that's because it does take however long that claim is open. Because when the claim is open, it's really hard to judge if you're at fault or not at fault. So it's hard to judge if you're going to be surcharged or not. So they wait until that claim closes to decide whether you're going to be surcharged or not. If you're not going to be surcharged, but there's an accident there and you're listed as not at fault, it's just going to be held against you as an accident in the household, or you just had an accident. But your rates will not be as high as someone who has an at-fault accident, okay? But that non-at-fault accident will show up for the next 5 years. Just so keep that in mind. When I see that, it'll say not at fault. But even though it's not at fault, it doesn't mean that it's not going to count against you. It just means that you're just not going to pay a surcharge. That's exactly what that means. That is exactly what that means. You're just not going to pay a surcharge. That's exactly what that means. Like I said, moving violations, if it's listed on there, you're going to pay that surcharge. And yes, I have seen people have both. Have an accident and a ticket. I've seen it where they were speeding that led to an accident, and they got to pay a double surcharge. Yes, they will have to pay a double surcharge. Usually, you pay a surcharge per violation, per accident. So, and I have seen some terrible ones, you guys. If you have 5 accidents and 5 tickets, you're going to pay 5 surcharges for your accidents and 5 surcharges for your tickets. That's a lot of money. I have seen some crazy rates before because people have some very bad driving records and they just don't know what to do, or the insurance company won't accept them. If you have a lot of things on your driving history, you have to put in that work to clear that up. You have to put in that work to clear up your record. The insurance company is not going to take you with all of those accidents and all of those moving violations on your driving record because you're too risky. Okay? You have to put in work to get that cleared up. If you don't put in work to get that cleared up, calling the insurance company and screaming at them is not gonna get you covered. Trust and believe, okay? I have dealt with so many people screaming at me because they got 5 accidents. And it's like, there's nothing I can do. You have 5 accidents. You need to put in that work to get your driving record cleared up. If you got to go to the court and fight that, or talk to the claims department and fight that, or go to the DMV and fight that, you got to go to your places that you need to go and get that cleared up. Okay? Because the underwriting department will not remove anything without proof that you've put in that work to get that cleared up. Like I mentioned, there's ways to get that done. You can go to the court and dispute it, go to the DMV and dispute it, or talk to the claims department and dispute it, depending on if you're talking about accidents or moving violations, okay? That's usually how you handle that. If you have a car policy already in place and you're trying to lower your rates back down, again, like I said, they're not going to go down to what they was, but they will go down after you've gotten everything removed, okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, so today all I wanted to do really was just go in and just kind of talk about, just pick up where I left off, because the first time I discussed with you guys what happens when you're shopping for car insurance and you have accidents and you have violations, what to expect from the car insurance company, what to expect from the agency, how to dispute those things, and how to get your rates down lower before you start shopping again. That was the first video that I put up 2 weeks ago. And today I wanted to finish it because I do have people who already have insurance and they want to know, hey, well, I had an accident. How are my rates going to be affected? What should I expect? Okay, like I said, you're going to expect your rates to go up. And they're going to be affected by you paying a surcharge, right? I wanted to make sure that I touched on both topics because not everybody is shopping for car insurance. Some people want to stay with their car insurance company. They just want to know how to handle having the tickets and having the accidents on your driving hit record. And I just told you, you're just going to have to dispute those with the appropriate departments that you need to dispute that with. Or if there's nothing you can do about that, meaning you actually was speeding and you can't get that ticket off, or you actually had that accident and it really was your fault, you would have to pay that surcharge. And I told you that you're going to have that on for the next 5 years, and the surcharge is for 3 years, 3 out of the 5 years. So I just want to just kind of do a recap real quick so you guys could know what I was talking about today. So we're going to wrap up the accidents and surcharge and the accidents and violations part, because our next topic is going to just be something completely different on auto insurance. But I just want to just go ahead and wrap that part up. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video was very informative for you. If you have any questions about this video, please put those in the comments section so that way I can respond to you. I do look at my comments. I do check to see if you guys are interacting with me, and I would love for you guys to interact with me because it does help me out as far as what I need to talk about. If I didn't elaborate enough on something, let me know so that way I can make another video and elaborate more on what you don't understand when it comes to the accidents and the surcharges when you're shopping for insurance versus when you already have insurance, okay? I want to make sure you guys understand how that works, all right? Also, if you are needing help with your insurance policy, okay, and you want to have a sit down with me to where I am reviewing your policy, I can, look at it, I can go ahead and help you make adjustments on your policy. I can give you advice if you want just only advice, or if you want hands-on help, I'll be able to do that for you. Contact me, you guys. My phone number is on my website. My website is www.insuranceladyinfo.com. Okay, and you can go on there and you can schedule a consultation with me where you can just ask me questions about your policy. You can schedule a policy review with me, or you can just go ahead and sign up for the annual membership to where you have me on call for an entire year, and I basically work for you on whatever you need help with. I'll be at your beck and call. Just make sure you hit me up and we'll go ahead and discuss that. So if you need further assistance beyond this video, go ahead and reach out to me so that way I can be there for you, okay? I'm a licensed insurance agent here in the state of Texas. So as far as me picking up clients, I can only pick up clients in the state of Texas, okay? If you do not live in the state of Texas and you still want to know, you need assistance, you will need to find you an agent somewhere in your area to make sure that you guys are getting the right type of assistance. But for my Texas residents, I am here for you, okay? So go ahead and contact me. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning into this video. I am so happy that you guys have been watching my videos. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't know how much that means to me, okay? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, please like the video below. Like I said, leave me comments, leave me feedback. I need it. I love it, okay? Thank you, guys. You have a wonderful rest of your day. You have a great rest of your week. And I will be back at the end of the week with another insurance informative video. All right. Thank you again. Bye.